ears and nodded, glad the episode was over. She disliked doing themed episodes for her home entertaining show. They were too gauche for her taste, but audiences loved them. With every pumpkin cookie cornucopia, every patriotic red, white, and blue ice cream cake, Simply Perfect's ratings climbed. So Beau pressed for at least 3 a season. In her Simply Perfect domain, Waverly Talbot was queen, but public opinion was king. Waverly untied the frilled turquoise-dotted Swiss apron she'd worn for the show. Although it was September, it was a warm day, and the studio kitchen was sweltering from the lights and the oven. She left the apron on the counter, where an assistant would launder it and return it to the apron closet. Her aprons were as much a part of her image as anything else. She was Simply Perfect's Waverly Talbot, a combination Martha Stewart and Marilyn Monroe, the perfect 50s housewife in the modern world who could sew the button on a shirt cuff, Google instructions for steaming Dungeness crabs, and still look divine in heels and pearls on cable TV. She had over 100 aprons, all of them custom-made. Beau, tell the team to please read all of the preparation notes, Waverly instructed with a frown, washing her hands and carefully slathering on a lemon-scented moisturizer. We can't afford any more mistakes on camera like we had with that tin today. Every detail needs to be right. You got it, Beau said, hurrying behind her as she headed back to her office, tucked behind the stage kitchen. Both were located in a renovated carriage house on the expansive Greenwich, Connecticut property belonging to Waverly and her husband, Andrew Ross. She had begun using the carriage house 6 years ago because it was free. But as Simply Perfect rose in popularity, she chose not to move to a more spacious soundstage. She loved the convenience of walking across her backyard to get to work. With Beau at her heels, Waverly breezed into her office, a narrow galley space decorated in pale, understated tones. The only color was a series of candy-bright vintage advertisements for 50s kitchenware that dotted the walls, lending a certain air of domestic gaiety to the muted beige and cream space. She turned to her producer, intending to ask him to give her a few minutes. She wanted to be alone, to regain her equilibrium and allow herself to explore this new, slightly seasick sensation and all it could potentially mean. "Hey, boss, I wanted to check on a few things for the launch party," Beau said, making himself comfortable on the tufted cream-colored leather love seat and diving into business before she could speak. "You said you wanted to go with a sort of Mad Men-themed cocktail bash here at your place. What still needs to be done?" He held his pen aloft, poised for her reply. Waverly's new project, a cocktail hour entertaining book, was coming out in just over a month. Publicity was kicking into high gear for the book's release. She sank into her cream leather office chair and slipped off her high heels with a sigh. Might as well get this over with. She could dwell on the future later. She'd have plenty of time before Andrew came home from his job in the city. Sophie has it all under control. Invitations are already in the mail. I think everything's in hand. They had decided on a designer cocktail bar with a small jazz band, waiters in black tie, and a select guest list of TV producers, influential cooking blog writers and book reviewers, and a couple of daytime talk show hosts. A glamorous, intimate evening with a few dozen people whose good opinion could propel book sales from average to bestseller. Beau jotted a few notes on his yellow legal pad, his ponytail bouncing with his energetic scribbling. Beau Beecham was not the sleekest producer around, but he had been with Waverly from the beginning, from her little-watched local television show, Entertaining with Waverly, to the growing home entertaining empire she presided over now. He was detailed, loyal, and down-to-earth, the right-hand man Waverly relied on to help her keep Simply Perfect moving up in the world. "I think that's all we need to discuss," she said, leaning her head back and closing her eyes. "We can talk about the particulars later." She let her hand drift over her abdomen as she waited for him to finish writing. Was she really feeling queasy? Or had it just been the heat and lights and the intensity of filming? To test herself, Waverly pictured a full Thanksgiving dinner. Roasted turkey, cranberry sauce, stuffing, gravy with giblets. There. She stopped. The thought of giblets swimming in a sea of brown sauce made her stomach turn over. She definitely wasn't imagining it. She smiled in amazement. All the other times she had never made it far enough to get morning sickness. This was an entirely new sensation. Beau consulted his notes as he wrapped up the meeting and prepared to go. "Okay,